Hello, good morning, good evening, whatever. How are you? I'm fine, thank you. Today is, let me introduce myself. I'm Language-Enthusiast. My introduction is going to be very, very quick today. I never practiced this, so I'll give it a try. And I really work hard to get my introduction as quickly as possible. My channel name here is Language Enthusiast because I'm interested in language learning. Alright, I'm a 59-year-old woman living in Japan, somewhere in Japan. And I've been studying English for such a long time. The first time I started studying English was when I was 28, when I was having 2 little children, and my third daughter was on the way. And I decided to study my English again, all over again from scratch, because it's been a long time since I graduated from high school, and I didn't speak English for such a long time. And I was just curious if someone like me who wasn't a good student at school, who didn't like English as a subject at school, could be a very good English speaker if I start from scratch. And there's another reason, which was in those days, all those young mothers around me wanted to let their kids learn English. It was becoming more and more popular, even though those mothers never were good English speakers themselves, but they were just proud of themselves letting their kids learn English. But I was a bit strange person who doesn't want to do anything that others do. So I really wanted to do something totally opposite from what they were doing. And I decided to study English myself. And ever since then, I studied English a lot in a traditional way. And the first several years, my English improved so much. I studied English very hard in a traditional way. And but when I was 34, I got divorced, and I had to work as the breadwinner. And I chose this job as a driver, very early shift driver, so that I was able to listen to English while I was working. But for the next 6 years, my life was so hectic that I couldn't concentrate on my English very much, so sometimes I completely stopped studying English, and sometimes I was just absent and I couldn't concentrate on listening to English while working. But when I was 40, I decided to change jobs. And I decided to do this job, this clerical job for a trading company, where I thought I might be able to use my English, and I started working as a clerical staff there, but it turned out that there was no such job as English-related job for that company, at that company, and feeling discouraged, and I decided to quit because I found that the place, which was quite a small office with 25 people, And my boss turned out to be my 2-year older senior high school senior. Was too friendly to me, and he was bossy, he was dominant, and I didn't like his attitude very much, and I thought that was not the place where I should be, and I decided to tell my boss that I wanted to quit. And what he said actually made me determined to quit, which was, he said something like, a woman in her 40s, like you, would never be able to find a good job out there except this one. So I really recommend you should stay here. And it really hurt my feelings, because that was so disgraceful, right? I don't know how to say this. Disgraceful, right? Very, very condescending, right? And I didn't like his remark, and I decided to quit. And after that, I still had to work as the breadwinner, so I decided to apply for the teaching job at in children's cram school as an English teacher. But I was the only person who graduated from high school. All the other teachers graduated from university, of course, because they are all people who aspired to be teachers, right? So no wonder all of them had a college degree, okay, university degree. And because many mothers who let their children go there to learn English were very particular about teachers' educational backgrounds, and some mothers actually asked other teachers which university I graduated from, and they had to give them some vague answers because they didn't want those mothers to know that I only graduated from high school. So they told a white lie, which I didn't feel nice about it, of course, but I had to accept the fact that I only graduated from high school. Okay, but during the on-the-job training, just after less than a month, since I started working there, suddenly I got fired. And they told me that their business was not good, so they couldn't continue to hire new people anymore. But I thought that was a total white lie. They said that to me out of politeness. Okay, anyway, after I quit the job, I was fired from the job. I didn't believe people, so I decided to choose a job which would allow me to do without facing people. And I started selling goods that I happened to find in my area cheaply, and I sold them at Japanese auction sites. Okay, and eventually I started selling Japanese related goods, which were very popular in those days in foreign countries, on eBay. And items I was selling sold like hotcakes, and I was able to contact my customers in English, and such experience helped me improve my English to some extent. And after that, ever since then, after that in 2008, Michael Jackson passed away, and I happened to find the very particular t-shirt that the particular design of t-shirt that he was wearing on one of his DVDs. I think it was probably This Is It. It was DVD called or titled This Is It, I guess. And he was wearing this t-shirt with the animation character named Popeye printed on it. And I happened to find the same kind of t-shirt sold on eBay. And I bought many of them. And I sold them on Japanese auction sites, and they sold like hotcakes because Michael Jackson was wearing the same t-shirt. And it changed my life, and I started selling. I started to make my own website, which sold imported American t-shirts. And the business was going really well because every time the new movies, like superhero movies or any kind of movies, American movies came to Japan, related t-shirts. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to say this, but t-shirts with such characters printed on them sold like hotcakes. Okay. But one day I had problems with this wholesaler, very important wholesaler. Actually, we didn't get along with each other eventually, and they stopped selling those t-shirts to me, and I have to make do with my inventory. At first, I didn't try to have any inventory because it was very risky. So what if my inventory wouldn't sell, right? So I decided not to have many t-shirts at hand, but eventually the number of t-shirts I started to have at my house increased. So for just after I had fight with my very important wholesaler, I had to make do with only my inventory. But my interest toward selling t-shirts decreased year by year, and it's been about more than 10 years since I started my own business, and it's been more than 10 years since I started being my own boss. But finally, last year, I quit my job. I went out of business, and I and my daughter took over my job. And so that was relieving to me. And last year, I had my colon cancer operation. My stage was not very serious, which was 1B. Okay, And now I've been concentrating on something that I always wanted to do, which was improving my speaking skills finally. And I decided to start this speaking practice all by myself about 3 months ago. Nearly 2.5 months ago. And now I finally started my second language. I decided to brush up my second language, which is Spanish, since yesterday, very seriously. And I will be starting my third language, which is Chinese. I've been learning both Spanish and Chinese for the last 10 years, on and off. But my level for my Spanish is somewhere between upper beginner and the lower intermediate. I have certain knowledge of certain grammar knowledge of Spanish and also Chinese, but I cannot speak both languages very well yet. Just like English, I wasn't as good a speaker of English. As I am now. Ever since I started practicing my speaking like this, all by myself, I record my voice and I listen to the recording every time I finish recording my voice, and I critique. This is where I critique myself, and day by day, I try to look up some words that I didn't know up in the dictionary, so that I will be able to learn more words that I can actually use. And by listening to my own recording, I can learn lots of things. Actually, I can make sure uncertain expressions. I can make sure some English expressions that I was not sure, and I can learn that the expressions I was using in my recording were actually correct. Okay, which gives me so much confidence. So it's very important to listen to your own English, and so it's very important to record your speaking and listen to it afterwards. This is very difficult to do somehow. I felt this way last night, actually, and I just put off listening to my own recording, and I started listening to my recording. It was almost midnight, and I was about to go to bed, but I finally decided to do it. I was reluctant to do it somehow. I don't know. Probably because it was a pretty long recording, which lasted longer than 50 minutes, and just thinking about listening to such a long recording or such long audio made me reluctant to listen to it, but I finally decided to do it, and I started doing it in my own bed. and with my earphones, because I really want my voice to be heard clearly and loudly. Somehow it sounds better and it gives you more confidence. So when I was learning how to sing songs from a professional singer in Tokyo in the year 2015 or so, my teacher who was a professional singer and I were in the studio. And in the studio, there were some very big speakers, right? And every time the teacher tried to listen to the recording in which I was singing some songs during the practice, during the lessons, the sound came out from the speakers, those speakers, big speakers. Those speakers that I never had in my house. So I never listened to my own voice, my singing voice, from such large speakers. And I was so surprised when I heard my own singing voice from those speakers. My singing voice sounded much, much better, and I felt as if I had been a very good singer, which it made me feel as if I had been a very good singer myself. And it made me feel so good. I love that kind of feeling. So that's why I make it a point of listening my own recording. Every daily routine, daily speaking practice with my earphones or headphones, and so that I can listen to it clearly, loudly. And I thought that last night while I was listening to my own voice, my speaking voice, I thought that I could fall asleep. But on the contrary, it made me wide awake because every time I got stuck in the recording, I had to check the expression on my iPhone, while listening to the audio. And there are many times that I had to look up in the dictionary. I had to refer to the dictionary, online dictionary particularly. And that actually kept me waking up. That actually made me wide awake. And finally, I ended up listening to all the audio, being wide awake. So, and I learned a lot because there were some times when I couldn't find the right word, or I wasn't sure if I was using the right words. But every time I got stuck, I looked the word up in the dictionary, and I was able to learn that. And little by little, day by day, I have been having more and more topics that I can talk comfortably. And actually, on the very first day, about 77 days ago, I was terrible actually. I was awkward, and that was a very short video. It was private, so you cannot see it because I was in front of the camera, and I decided to appear on the screen. I decided to not to record myself, but I decided to videotape myself because I really wanted to see myself speaking in the video. I had never done that before, or not never, but I had seldom done that before. So I thought that it was high time I should do that at first. And I was shocked for many reasons. Because I wasn't able to speak English as much as I thought I could in the first place. And I didn't want to see myself, see my face in the video, but I had to anyway. So that was shocking to me. I was not used to seeing myself speaking English in a video. And there was not many things that I was able to talk about in the first place. So I was terrible anyway. I was awkward anyway. I hated that video. Where was I anyway? But now I have more things that I can talk about, and I have more expressions that I can use more comfortably. So day by day, little by little, I think I'm getting better and better. But sometimes, what I do might be worse than what I did the day before. But sometimes what I'm doing is much, much better than what I was doing the day before. And gradually over time, I think my speaking skills have been getting better. It's not, of course, it's not perfect, and it can never be perfect. As I said, as I was talking about in this video, we cannot be perfect, and we shouldn't be perfect. It's okay, and I'm actually brushing my speaking skills, brushing up my speaking skills in my practice. So it's totally okay that I cannot speak well because it's practice. This is a place where I figure out what I cannot do so that I can make it better. And I was just watching. Okay, I already finished introducing myself, and it was not brief. It turned out to be pretty long, so I have to elaborate it day by day. But I'm not in a hurry because every day I will be keeping doing this. So I'm not in a hurry. Okay, let's get back to where I wanted to talk about. Okay, I was watching this video. The channel name was Learn Real English or something like that. Okay, it was the channel was produced by 2 or 3 people. One of them is an American guy. He's a native English speaker, and the other guy is a non-native English speaker, but he speaks great English. I think he's Brazilian or he's he's from Portugal, or he's from, I'm not sure if he's either from Brazil or Portugal, but his native tongue is Portugal, okay? Not Spanish. Okay, and there was another woman as their staff. She was probably from Africa, South Africa or somewhere, and she also speaks very good English that sounds like British English. And they started to hire this new woman from Ukraine. I don't know which I should pronounce this word. But Idol Club looked up the pronunciation of this word because I didn't know this word, Ukraine or Ukraine. But I found how to pronounce this word in two ways. Like the one should place a stress on the first syllable, like Ukraine, and the other one, the second one, place the stress on the second syllable, like Ukraine. Okay, Ukraine. And I don't know which I should pronounce this word. I don't know in which way I should pronounce this word, but okay, anyway, she's from Ukraine, and she's a very beautiful young woman. She speaks great English, and when she was a student, she was not a very good English speaker, but she worked hard on it, and now she's an English teacher on YouTube. And also, she was a new recruit for that channel, I guess. And I love that channel because their English is very clear, easy for me to catch, easy for me to understand. And I listen to their program not for my listening practice, but rather for my speaking practice. I really want to copy what they speak. And since their English is easy to catch, it's good practice for me so that I can speak like them. I can learn which expressions they use, which verbs they use, and how they construct their sentences, using which verbs or which expressions, which words, so that I can pick up their expressions while listening to their conversations. And they are talking about, I forgot what I should say but they were talking about very, very good things. And I wanted to talk about it, but where was I actually? I tend to forget what I was about to say while speaking English, even in my native tongue, but they basically say the same thing as those two people I was talking about in yesterday's video, one of which is named Teacher Prix. She's also from Brazil. Her native tongue is Portugal, and the other person is this great YouTuber, polyglot, who speaks more than 20 languages, named Steve Kaufman, right? And those people say basically say the same thing, which is communication matters, not perfection. So as long as we can make ourselves understood in our clear English or clear language, it's okay. It's totally okay. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Try not hard to use any fancy words, big words, because all we should do is to make ourselves understood, to make ourselves heard properly, so that other people who listen to our language can understand what we are thinking about, right? This is the most important thing when it comes to language learning, I guess. And this actually changed my mindset toward language learning. So now I feel more positive about learning Spanish. Okay, as I said, I started Spanish seriously on that website that Steve Kaufman created himself with his son, which is called LingQ. And yesterday was my second day. Yeah, second day. And yesterday I deleted my previous account, which I created the year 2012, meaning I started using the site for the first time in the year 2012, but I didn't use the site very much because I mostly used the traditional way of learning languages myself. And at first, I didn't find the site very interesting somehow, but their website, which is LingQ, changed a lot since then. They added more functions, and they have become more user-friendly. But my previous account had Japanese as my native tongue, so every time I did my lessons, I had to read translations in Japanese, and I didn't want my native tongue to learn Spanish. I'd rather use English to learn other languages, because this way I can improve my English, right? I can utilize my English, right? This is very important, right? Because I'm not at the stage where I should learn English. No, I'm at the stage where I should use my English to learn something with my English, right? So I decided, because I didn't know how to change my native tongue on the website, I could have done that. But I didn't know how. So the only way I was able to do was to delete the previous account and make the new account. Okay, and then it was just easy. I just requested that I wanted to delete my account, and just with the click of the mouse. No, I didn't use the mouse. I just used my finger, but just one tap, it was done. And I was able to create the new account using the same email address, which was good to me. Okay, and then with this new account, somehow my native tongue was chosen. English was chosen as my native language for my new account, which was really nice to me. And this way, I was able to know, and now I can study Spanish with English in English. Translations are shown in English, so there is no Japanese there. And I've done the very first 10 lessons so far. I chose the easiest lessons at first from the beginning because, I have certain knowledge of Spanish grammar, and I have so many expressions and words. But for starter, I decided to start from scratch just in case. Since it is so easy, I was able to do it as enjoyable as possible. Is this the right sentence? I was able to find it as enjoyable as possible, and I was able to proceed my lessons very quickly, right? And I can also review lots of things, lots of words. And I realized that LingQ is a very good learning site. It's amazing. It's one of the best. It's the best. I can say it's the best because every time I do each lesson, the same words and expressions keep coming up over and over again. So I end up memorizing all those words and expressions, new words and expressions, while I'm doing more and more lessons naturally, without even trying to memorize them intentionally or consciously. And this is the best way for you to memorize words and expressions. Using some studying materials such as Anki app or space repetition practice materials. Some people love using those materials because it makes you feel that you are studying the language, right? But it takes time, I guess. So I normally don't use those things. I used to use those things in the past, but now I find it pretty time-consuming, and this is not for me. So the best way for me now is to access to more materials. Stories, listening materials, reading materials, and so that I can come across many words and expressions as many times as possible, and eventually I can memorize them naturally, because those new words and expressions that looked unfamiliar to you for the first time will become more and more familiar every time you encounter them, and eventually you will realize, and you will even be surprised how familiar they have become without knowing before you know it, because all those words will eventually be sunk in, right, in your brain naturally. This is how you acquire your native language, right? You never used dictionaries when you were a baby, right? You never used Anki app, right? When you were a little child, every time you heard or you came across new expressions that your parents or people around you used or spoke to you. And it's totally okay. This is what Steve Kaufman was saying in his videos many times, though, that it's totally okay to forget those new words and expressions, because this is actually very important when you acquire your target language or your even native tongue, because you cannot memorize all those words literally or practically, physically, right? So you cannot be afraid of forgetting all those words. You will definitely encounter them again somewhere. You never know where, when, but you will eventually keep running across them anywhere, somewhere. And every time you come across all those words, it makes you notice that it makes you think that, oh yes, I remember I came across this word the other day or some other times, many times, and I now realize that I actually forgot it, but now I just remember that I knew this word actually, and now I'm even more aware of this word now, and this is the most important thing. And so that's why just after I started studying English very seriously about 4 months ago, or even a little bit before that, I was just studying for taking a test, which is called STEP. Okay, I decided not to study for the test this time around, though, and I was explaining why many times in my previous videos. So, okay, so I'm not going to explain it again this time around, but in this video, though, okay, but I try to memorize all those big words, academic words, that would make me look like I'm a very intelligent person, or I'm an academic person, or something like that, because I really wanted to use all those big words, academic, intelligent words in my speech. And anyway, I had to study all those words to pass the test. So, but after I started my speaking practice like this, I couldn't come up with all those words in my speaking, because those were just my not active but passive words. Okay, all those words that I had tried to memorize were just my passive vocabulary. That's why I wasn't able to use them in my conversation. And I was actually surprised or astonished how many of those words I actually forgot at that time. That was really discouraging to me. And even I thought that it made me even feel that I was not cut out for being a good English speaker or something like that. But that was not true, because all those words that I had thought that I thought that I had memorized were just passive vocabulary, and they had never sunk in my brain. And that was mainly because I seldom use them in my speech. So the more I try to use them in my speaking practice, and the more I realize that I actually don't remember them correctly, and I don't remember them how to use them. I don't know how to say this, but I don't actually learn. I haven't learned how to use them in the right context, actually. I don't know where I was. I don't know how I started this sentence, okay, because this was such a long sentence. So anyway, the more opportunities you have, and the more you realize that actually all those words were just your passive vocabulary, so you should use them more often. The more they could become your active vocabulary. So you should use them more often anyway. And it's okay to forget them, because every time you forget them, it makes you notice them, right? And so you try to come up with the meaning again, and every time you do this, it becomes more obvious. It has become more meaningful. So forgetting something is important. Noticing that you forget something is very important, because it actually teaches you something. So that's why, where was I actually? And I've already talked for about 53 minutes. So I think it's time for me to complete or conclude this practice, because I don't want to speak that long. I want to do something else more, like reading. When it comes to reading, I've already finished all those 3 books by who was that? Todd Strasser. Okay, Todd Strasser. Okay. Yeah. And they turn out to be really good, really amazing. I love his books, especially the books that he wrote himself. I mean, not the novelization of movies. So I love the series of the books that he wrote himself, and I have to return them to the library in the very near future. And I've been waiting for one book written by him to come to my house. I ordered it on Amazon Japan, and it should be from a foreign country like the US, I think. and it should be here by the end of October, I guess. It takes time anyway, and I'm looking forward to reading it because it's one of the volume of the series that I have finished reading. And the series consists of 3 volumes, and I had only 2 of them because when I first bought them in the shop in this very big vessel, which came to my city about nearly 30 years ago. That was when I just started studying English, and this very big ship came from somewhere else, some other foreign countries. It's a cruise ship, and I got to know about this ship by watching a TV program or TV news one day. And I got interested in this ship because all the staff were foreign people. And so the TV program or TV news introduced this ship, saying that if you are interested in foreign people, foreign countries, foreign languages, is the best place that you can come to. And I got interested in it because I was studying English, and I really wanted to try my English. And in the ship, there was this store where they were selling books, so many English books, and I picked up some, and I tried my English, but I used the wrong word. It's a good memory though, but that was embarrassing to me at the time. Okay, and those 2 books were on my bookshelf for such a long time, and I actually finished reading it in those days, but I didn't read it for such a long time again. And I decided to read them once again. And I love the story. It is about young musicians. At first, they were amateur musicians, but eventually they have become a very famous rock band in the US. It's a fiction, so this band doesn't exist, never exists. But since I was also I'm a music person, I was in a band when I was younger. So this story was able to I was able to relate to this story. And this is how I took to this author. This is how I got interested in this author, and I wanted to read more of his books, and I borrowed some books from the library. I borrowed 4 of them this time, but one of them was also the novelization of this movie called Free Willy, and I've never seen this movie. And at first, some homeless kids appeared in the story, and since I don't like the story or videos about homeless people, because I find them pretty sad. It's their business, so it's none of my business, but I tend to find such situations pretty discouraging and devastating. For some homeless people, being homeless gives them so much freedom, but I can't imagine that. I can't imagine myself being in their shoes. Anyway, I love this author named Todd Strasser, and I'm interested in reading more of his books. He's a prolific writer. He writes so many novels, but I'd rather read his own books than his novelization of books. Okay, I'm getting tired and I have to cook lunch, so I have to go now. But I'll be back tomorrow too because I love this practice. I love this place where I can talk about anything freely, comfortably. Okay, and I'm going to practice my Spanish today too. So I really hope that you have a lovely day today. Okay, take good care of yourself. I will. Thank you for listening. Talk to you soon. Bye.